you pull on that jersey, you represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Get that through your head.
And here we go.
And it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
The playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Happy Friday, everybody. I am your host of the program, otherwise known as NETMA, Tyler Falk. Glad to have you here on a Friday edition of NETMA. Last show for a week before we come back from Memorial Weekend. Got to take care of a few things. And, well, Cam gets to have a week off. I get to have a week off. So I'll be back in a week's time with more shows, more NETMA. So this will be the last one for a week. Let's go ahead and continue what we started yesterday, right? We talked East, Atlantic, and North divisions. Those, of course, being the old divisions from season 16 through 18. No, 17 through 18. I got my math mixed up somewhere. You can help me out. But final three divisions we're covering today from season 18 with South, Tex-Mex division, West, and Pacific divisions. That's all what we're going to be covering today. And let's get started with that Tex-Mex division. It was a glorious season for Lone Star, and a glorious season, I should say, for Mexico City in a way. However, they were knocked off their pedestal. Glory take the division. Lone Star, it was pretty much just Lone Star and Mexico City. I thought it'd be a lot tighter, a lot closer. Maybe end up like a division we'll talk about next. But Lone Star and Mexico City pulled away, and Houston really did pour it on the last half of the season, really did try and make something out of it. A couple of good wins from Houston that maybe thought that we were going to see something happen from week 7 through 11. They wanted a 4-game winning streak with a bye week right in week 8. Houston looked to be on a little bit of a roll and then just fell away at the last 3 games. Fort Worth just struggled. Couldn't really find a good winning patch. Longest win streak for the Toros was a couple of 2-game or just 1 2-game win streak for Fort Worth. That was San Diego and LA, week 9, week 10. But it really didn't help them. They started off of the season with a 5-game losing streak. So both Houston and Fort Worth wondering what could have been. The Hyenas, of course, rebranding now to the Headhunters, and the Toros are without a QB. Once again, Johnny Reno deciding to test free agency, and Houston with new ownership and a new name trying to change things around. Mexico City ain't going nowhere. This entire division is sticking around right as it is from season 18 to season 19. No changes, no additions, no subtractions. And so we're probably in for a good another fight between Lone Star and Mexico City. Maybe Houston adds something extra that we haven't seen, and maybe Houston makes it a 3-horse race next season. Fort Worth may be looking into more of an SFL rebuild, as we like to call it. Can't really do a whole bunch of rebuild, but once you lose a quarterback, you have to learn their new tendencies of the new quarterback you bring in. If they don't bring in an established signal caller, rumors swirling that it might be Brown, it might be a few other names, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see where Fort Worth go to find their next QB, and maybe they've already found him. Maybe that they've already got a commit. Lone Star and Mexico City, again, solid seasons. Lone Star finished runners-up through the entirety of the season, just falling short against Baltimore in the championship. Mexico City will be looking for a much stronger performance next time out. Let's go on to the West Division. And something I didn't put here in the title is we have our first cap penalty announcement of season 19, as it was decided a few seasons ago that if you were unable to provide scouting coverage for at least all six of your home games, or have someone that you talk to cover it personally, you will be docked cap. And so Denver has been not only docked with a very sluggish season at times, but they will now have to deal with a little bit tighter cap. They've been docked 30 points for failing to abide by the scouting commitment. And so they will have a cap at 1770 for season 19 re-signing and all that kind of stuff. That's the only announcement that I have heard of. That's the only announcement that's been made public. I feel, and Eddie can confirm, of course, in chat, that there will be more penalties on the way and more deductions that we'll be finding out in due course. We'll hopefully have a list for you all at that same time. You can take a look about which team will be hit. Let me start over. I'll be keeping track of all the teams that get hit with this cap penalty or other types of cap penalties in the season 18-19 SFL offseason hub, link to which is in the NETMA server Discord server, which is down below in the description. Happy to have you check it out there. It's also in both Gen Chat in the SFL official Discord. Link to that is in the Simulation Football League website. That's down below as well. And that's also in a couple other places as well. But that's where I know of them far. Let's get back to what else has happened. So besides Denver and Arizona going below 500, this was a very beak and claw performance from Sioux Falls. The Little Bird finally rebounds after the changes to the structure of the league in season 15. After season 15, I should say. They struggled mightily back to back, 3 and 9 seasons. All of a sudden this season, they finally figure out a way to turn things around and pick up a 7-5 record. And that was all they would need to come out of this jam-packed, tightly contested division where all 4 teams at one point looked like they were able to take the championship. It wasn't who didn't want it. It was who is going to be able to fight harder. And it turns out that the team from South Dakota, who is now leaving the West Division to go to the Central, is the team that takes the honors. And of course, this division, the West, will be welcoming in San Diego from the Pacific Division as realignment takes into effect in season 19. The other teams I really haven't talked about too much. Las Vegas, spunky was one word I would describe them as a season ago. Inconsistent is probably the word I would describe them by this season. Not really trying to put together a whole bunch of wins. A span of a 3 consecutive loss stretch between weeks 9 and 11 really sealed their fate. They tried to make a quick little comeback with a nice little stretch at the end, but as we all figured out, 6-6 no longer cuts it to make the playoffs. And with the playoffs not expanding next season, and there being 28 teams, it might, about 2 seasons ago in season 17, that probably might be the last time we see a 6-6 team make the playoffs for the foreseeable future. So we found out this season with everybody continuing to improve, it's not going to work. 6-6, no longer going to cut it. Arizona, the previous division winners, just a little bit interesting. They also fell 3 games in a row, weeks 10 through 12 to DC, London, and Las Vegas, which ultimately sealed their fate as well. So again, jam-packed West Division. Sioux Falls finds the consistency they need closer to the end of the season to pull out the division, and now they move to the Central Division, where I think it's going to be even tougher for them to win some ball games as they join Tulsa, they join Minnesota, and they join Indianapolis. There we go. If I remember correctly, and I am correct. Indianapolis, Minnesota, Tulsa, and Sioux Falls. There we go. All right, final division for season 18. That's the Pacific Division, and that is Canadian Domination. It really looked like San Diego had turned a corner, won 3 straight to begin the season, keeping right in step with the Marching Legion. However, the Legion pulled away, would only lose 1 regular season game, while San Diego would lose the remaining 9 of their season, and LA tried to make something happen middle way of the season, but then they ultimately went on a 5-game losing streak. The next closest team to the 11-1 Vancouver Legion, LA, finished with a interesting, not recommended record of 4-8. A very vast comparison between the 3 clubs as San Diego departs and in comes Seattle. And hopefully Seattle isn't sleeping when they look at this division and look at the competition that they're going to have to immediately find themselves in with Vancouver. It looks like this is Vancouver's division for the foreseeable future. Maybe in the next 3 seasons, if things don't turn around for LA, Portland, and the new Seattle nemesis. Portland, again, failing to really find any form. They have Ezekiel Love, a really good running back, but ultimately they weren't able to put together an entire package this season. The same could say for San Diego in a way. Really great passing attack, really no run game or a solid defense throughout those last 9 games. So hopefully those teams figure out a way to turn things around in season 19 as Vancouver will look to put them away once again. So that is the season 18 divisional recap. I've got a couple of exciting things planned for 2 weeks. Thursday, in 2 weeks, let me get you the official date here. Thursday, the 2nd of June, will be we'll call it a round table, but not a preseason round table. This one, I've invited all the new expansion team owners, Minnesota, Seattle, Indianapolis. Why am I missing Canton? There we go. I've invited all 4 ownership groups to join me to talk about their new teams on their successful bids and maybe have a little banter between them. That's Thursday, June 2nd. So when we come back, we'll be prepping a lot more for that. We'll be talking a little bit of SFLM during that week. We'll be talking a little bit of more off-season news that I won't be able to cover next week. If there's something juicy that I find happen, I might write a little dibbly-doo. Might write a little blurb or something, post that in the NETMA server Discord, and maybe leak content in the SFL Discord channel. But we'll have to see what happens next week as things quite possibly really start to kick off. So that is going to do it for this week and of the program. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time on Tuesday of the last day of May, May 31st. Tuesday, May 31st will be the next episode of NETMA. So until then, everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.